And tonight we got our special guest,
Precious Layne.
DJ I am Precious Layne, soon to be Dr. Layne.
Soon to be Dr. Layne.
Hey! Good stuff. But before we get into that, though, make sure, like, subscribe, comment, share, everything. We're on YouTube. We're on all podcast platforms. Make sure you share. Make sure you let us know what you think.
Yep, like, subscribe, all of
Click
that.
on these links.
And you know what? While we doing that, somebody got a new website.
Hey.
Yes, I do.
Somebody. So tell people where they can find you. Let's move some of this stuff out the way.
Yeah.
Let them see your face.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you and all that stuff.
Well, you guys can find me at IamPreciousLayne.com. It's my new website. You can find me at I Am Precious Layne on every single platform: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
So you are Precious Layne?
I am Precious Layne.
So make sure y'all go follow her, check her out. Dope DJ, cool person, all that good stuff. All right, y'all. So we're gonna get things started.
Let's get things started. Let's get this water away from me first, because I don't do that.
You don't hydrate?
I don't. No, I hydrate, just not with that. Seltzer.
Big carnival time, dog.
Seltzer, dog. Seltzer. And coconut water.
It's a big carnival time, and here we are.
Dog. Yo.
Yep.
Nothing's happening.
Not true. Because if it was not for Carnivalish on Saturday,
I'm not even talking about here.
shameless plug.
Yeah.
Saturday, make sure you go to tickets.fatfinders.com/Carnivalish. Links right there. If it wasn't for that, if I hadn't literally just dropped the flyer, I was going to turn that, bro.
Oh, you was going. You had made plans to go?
No, I hadn't made plans, but there was already some budding things going on, and then my sister's leaving on Thursday. Like, stuff is going on.
Right.
Stuff is going
You
on.
were going to go in the pod?
Yeah.
Oh, he was in the
Yeah.
wrestling. He was going in the wrestling ring.
What?
WrestleMania,
dog.
My mom and them are down there. Like I said,
My mom went lyrical the other day. Shout out Ball.
I heard it was good.
Dog, it's good. College Boy Jesse was the other day, it down south. Apparently it was real good too. Like, I mean,
It's still a little vibe. It's still a little vibe.
it's better than nothing. Because when you think about it, what are we doing? We're sitting here. Luckily, we have Carnivalish on Saturday. September. Wow. February the 26th. I ain't even started drinking yet.
So this Saturday, Carnivalish, DJ Majestic, DJ Hazard going on at Mix Lounge.
Yep.
What else we got?
We're doing a little Soca thing. After that, because I think Carnivalish is more like a precursor to Strictly the Best, which is also going to be a Soca thing, which we've already talked about. That one is on March 20th. It's on a Sunday, so we getting a little jiggy during the day, all that stuff. But then after that,
actually,
we got something else.
Yes, after that.
I was about to say, yeah, yours is after that.
Right. I'm all the way out in April.
Bro, when I saw that flyer,
yeah, son.
I get excited, dog.
Plus,
I saw this chick named I Am Precious Layne on the flyer, dog.
What?
You get excited.
What?
JC Precious and get excited.
I said, well, yes, check this. Nah, it's a dope lineup, though.
Okay, April 24th, you already know what's going down. We had Privilege, DC. That's 1115 U Street Northwest. It's my big birthday bash. Haven't done it in a couple of years, so we're bringing it back. You know, COVID kind of slowed us down, but April 24th, it's a Sunday. It's a day party. 3 to 9 p.m. Got an amazing lineup. I got the whole Guys Unpacked podcast plus guests. We got White Boy the DJ, DJ Precious Layne, DJ Hazard, hosted by DJ Majestic. And I'm bringing it out of New York City, Rigo, and out of Barbados, the homie Just Jay. So it's going to be an amazing time. It's on my actual birthday this year. So I'll come in and I will be real stupid when I reach it.
I can't wait.
Real stupid.
Question. 2 questions, actually. 1, the Monday, are you taking off?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure you're taking off the Monday. I think I'm going to take off that Monday as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to act ignorant.
Because even though it's early and you don't have to take off the Monday,
right?
You know, because it's ending at 9, so you don't have to take off. I'm just to be on the safe side.
Next question. Usually, Prestige is a dress-up thing. We dressing up again?
Yes. Still, dress code is still chic, sexy. You know, it's still the sexy springtime affair. Even though it's usually at night, it's a daytime. Throw on something nice, springtime colors. Come out looking nice, but we still gonna turn up the vibes. Yeah. All kind of music gonna play. It's still, of course, because you know where we are, you know who I am, you know we're gonna lean a little soca heavy. But what I don't want is people in there and they hear any kind of other music play and it's like, wait, nah, it's not soca. Like come out.
It's not a soca fest.
It's not an all soca fest. You know what I'm saying? So come out with an open mind. ready to hear all kinds of music and party to all kinds of music. So
before we go to the next topic, though,
Mhm.
I'm going to do another shameless kind of plug.
Okay.
It's for the podcast, though. So, if you're a promoter, you have a business, you have a brand, and you want to promote it on our show, holler at us. We got packages. So, as you see, we take some time out. We express the things that we're doing, and we do not mind doing it for other people for a price. Cool. Right. Anyway,
so back to while we on the topic of the music, DJ Avalanche had a post because apparently Private Ryan did a Soca starter in New York.
Yep.
And there apparently was some complaint because I guess one of the DJs played some dancehall.
Yep.
So the thing was, the debate started back up of should other genres be played in a party when it's labeled a certain way?
Sure.
I got two DJs here who both play multiple genres of music.
Yep.
What's you guys' take on that?
Let's the guests go first.
Yeah.
For me personally, so a name Soca starter, right? Cool. So
Right.
some people when they see a Soca, anything straight Soca, whatever, I comment to hear only Soca, right?
Right.
However, as a DJ, when you realize them getting tired,
Right.
them getting tired, them jumping.
Right.
Like I had to switch it up a little bit, you understand? Especially if the person who hired me see I could play something else,
Right.
then I play something else.
So I'm on the fence, right?
All right.
I kind of understand both sides.
Right.
Like,
right.
So personally, because I'm a very literal person anyway, very similar to what you said.
Right.
If I go to a party that's called Soca anything, I expect Soca.
I expect
personally.
Soca. Right.
I think a little bit different than what you're saying though is like if people are tired, the beauty of Soca is from a BPM standpoint, we can go all the way from in the 90s all the way up to 160 beats per minute. So if they're tired, I can play some groovy Soca and do that. Now, I think part of the issue is that like, and we've talked about this similarly in other topics about like DJs feeling boxed in or whatever like that. If the promoter actually wants the party to be a Soca party, then they should be telling the DJs only play Soca. Right? If the promoter is like, oh nah, you could play something else, then I don't think it should be marketed as solely a Soca party. Maybe just like what you said, it's mostly Soca, but we're gonna play a little bit of everything else. Because the problem is you have patrons who some are like me. If I'm hearing Soca starter, I expect to only hear Soca, right? And then you have some who are like, oh, I don't really want to hear only Soca. I want to hear a little bit of everything. So like, you really can't please everybody, which is kind of what Avalanche was saying. But like, just don't market this shit as a Soca party if it's not gonna be all Soca. That's just my opinion. So
y'all get upset. You go to a party marketed and then you as a patron. So we're not talking about you as a DJ.
Sure.
So you're not giving the DJ. Don't give the DJ benefit of the doubt. Like you in the party, you're tight, you're drinking.
Right.
And then some other thing play, y'all just vibe with whatever it is.
I'm a party regardless. I don't actually care. And to be honest with you, like I would never throw, other than of course these next two parties. So this sounds ridiculous right now. What I'm saying, but I would never typically throw an all Soca party. The only time I'm cool with only playing Soca, it's carnival time. Outside of carnival time,
but I mean this is carnival time.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why like Saturday works. But even strictly the best, I'm like, but like that's Magic's vision, and he really wants to like be able to go deep into a genre. So from that standpoint, I still rock with it because like that is the actual point of it. It's not just Soca; it's also going to be a reggae version and a dancehall version and an Afrobeat version or whatever it is. So personally, I don't ever want to hear one thing all night anyway.
Me neither.
So I don't mind. The only time I will say there was this wasn't a party, but it was after Carnival, last lap a year. I'm not gonna name the DJ, but someone dropped some fucking dancehall in the last lap, like Tribe and Bliss and all that. Horse, you know what I'm talking about.
In Trinidad?
In Trinidad, dog. Horse, he's a New Yorker, but we're not gonna say any names. If you say a name, I'll drink.
You ain't putting nobody on the spot.
Well, let's add to that, right? So I was hired for an event. I think the event was dancehall. It was dancehall. So I go in there thinking it said on the flyer dancehall party. That is what it say. Yeah. That is not what it say, but that is what it say.
I was about to say, I was like, did they say dancehall party?
Right. But it said basically strictly dancehall.
Right.
So already in my mind I go in saying, all right, as a DJ, or they all meant to play dancehall, the people coming to your dancehall, so I play in dancehall. DJ after me come on, play hip hop, everybody start to scream and get on. So you see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. It's like
so I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a difference with like the dancehall culture versus the Trini culture, right?
Right.
So for so long, Trinis have even fought down here in Soca all the time.
Right.
Whereas in that, like you go to a true dancehall, at any fucking point in time they could drop a Whitney Houston or some shit. You're like,
they love that.
Where did
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. The fact that we all know.
When you said Whitney, the minute I was like Celine Dion.
Right. So like so that makes sense to me in a dancehall party.
Right.
But I think because we are also fighting for Soca to be looked at as a global genre, honestly, we do have to kind of protect it a little bit.
Absolutely.
And it's not just on the party scene, but it's like all the things that go toward making this a global sound. Like we gotta protect the shit.
But I think even from a protecting a standpoint, like when you think of other genres, like I can go to any other party, and if it's not marketed as specifically this, they tend to mix in other things. So like you'll be at, I remember being at Love back in the day, and the DJs would play the generic 4 or 5 generic soca songs that Americans knew at the time. So I personally don't see an issue with it from a patron standpoint. I remember last year, a patron, and I don't know if it was just had a little bit too much to drink or whatever, but I'm at a party and the DJs went deep into some not off the wall stuff, but they went into some unconventional music for what would be considered a soca party.
Okay.
But the party was never marketed as soca.
Okay.
There was nowhere in the promotion or marketing that they list a genre. Now you knew the promoters, so they're more on the soca side of things. But the party had no marketing like that. So the DJs, and as they started going,
they got creative and did their thing.
The crowd inside was reacting and responding to it. So they, in a good way.
Oh, so then they
and so they kept going. But then you have the patrons who was like the dude saw me outside. He's like, "But Rich, where's this? Where's this?" Like I come in to hear this, and I had to be like, "Right,
it's not my party."
Not even that. It wasn't.
That's what I would have said.
No, it wasn't my party. But I was still like, right. I get that you didn't come in to hear this, but if the DJ started going this route, and the people are reacting and responding well to it, then it's a good party.
But that goes back to like what I had said, over and over and over about the way people consume music, right? Like a lot of people go to parties with the expectation of hearing something. So in this particular situation, maybe the crowd was fine, but then that one guy, he came in with the expectation, I want to only hear this thing, right? And the difficulty is when you aren't vulnerable enough to just let go and just listen to the music, right? Because on the real, right? I've been to some parties. So not soca, not like dancehall, none of the shit that I play, for real. Like some rave shit.
Yeah.
I end up getting so enamored by seeing other people excited about music, right? Because like it'll be sometimes shit that I'm just unaware of. And I think in the same situation, I go on to dancehall parties. I don't really know all the music, like up to date music. Yeah. But I see them party, and I'm like, I don't know it, but this is live right now, dog.
I promise you, I just be dependent on this one mix to get to get my dancehall updates. And I'm waiting for this mix so long, dog. I'm waiting.
Which mix is that?
I texted DJ maybe about 3 times.
Is it a I Am Precious Layne?
Dog.
I feel like that's who it is.
I asked him for Rotted. I can show you the text messages, son. I asked
show
him for
receipts
for how long now? A couple months.
It's been
Precious.
some months.
Where Rotted coming? I'm still listening to the old one from pre-pandemic Rotted. I still listening.
No.
So,
I can explain. I can explain.
Explain now.
School is kicking my bottom, dog.
Yeah.
Is that the same reason why you thought that there were only 60 big songs? Before you reach? Yeah. I was like, yo, like what you think about the new song? She's like, It's like, how many songs do you think is popping? She was like 60. I was like, nah, dog.
He said, Precious, I shame. I said, dog.
I was like, you a DJ though, bro?
But look, the crazy thing is right now, without things to go to, like you guys are DJs, you guys are just getting the music. Right, without things to go to, we're just not hearing it. Like I
get the music, and then coming on it, and every day I wake up, I'm like, yo, 45 more,
bro. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I went through and did a draft of like my quarantine carnival mix last night. It was like over 2 hours, and I leave out the real music.
He was like, nah, right. He was like, all right, something got to get left on the
because honestly, like normally I'd be like, I want to play everything. This time I'm like, yo, there's no actual carnival. I don't have to actually play all this shit. So, hold on,
Dog, like Ryan's Soca Brainwash mixes would be my like road trip to New York mix.
Right.
Like, cause like, all right,
you listen almost the entire trip.
Like once I get out of the listening area where I can't listen to the music and I don't want to like try to figure out
correct
what channel is in Delaware or whatever. It's all right. Ryan mix till I reach New York. You know what I'm saying? So, but I like to kind of wrap this one. I just feel like people. I see both sides of it, like y'all said.
Right.
I think as patrons, we need to be a little bit more open to just party. Like, go out, even if in your mindset was like, I want to hear soca. Now, with that being said, I think DJs need to also be cognizant of where they are.
Sure.
Like,
100%.
I get it if you experiment a little bit with something else, but if you kind of know this is a soca promoter primarily, and the bulk of this crowd is soca, even if I mix it up a little bit,
make sure you get back to soca.
Right. Let me not overdo this. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that, yes, I am still kind of, one, alienating some of the people who did come here for certain things. And then two, the problem becomes, that's how a lot of music doesn't get played.
Right.
And I know as a patron at the end of the night, if some of the big hits didn't get played, and then I think back, and you were playing old Whitney Houston in the middle, now I'm looking back at it like, that whole music you're right. Like I'm looking at it like, okay, that set was now unnecessary. If you can do it and still get to the hits, something different.
I was about to say because like I'm playing Whitney.
No, and I'm not saying no, dog.
I'm playing the Celine Dion, bro.
Dog, listen, I was at a party in New York last year that Nunu played at, and I remember this girl saw my story and was like so mad, like, there's the shit they're playing in Soca Fets now, but I had to be like, but look at the crowd, because no lie, at one point the DJ played Natasha Bedingfield Unwritten
and killed it,
and we all
smashed it.
We all top of our lungs singing songs, whole chest singing the songs. So like he felt the vibe of what he could go with, and it was like, no, we gonna keep going. And he went down a rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole works.
And the thing is, as a DJ too, like there are these moments, right, where you figure out that you can do something like that. I remember there was a night that I played Miley Cyrus Party in the USA.
Yeah.
And then did a mix in the Empire State of Mind.
Yeah.
When I tell you, flatten the ground. And it was not like a white people party. It wasn't even a hip hop party. And I was like, I'm just doing it, and like it just
when you
turned
feel
up.
it. So
yeah.
Speaking of feeling it though,
I'm scared to feeling what?
Keke Wyatt, real feeling it though.
Dog, it's not me. Not me. Us. Like I told you yesterday. I tell her don't come by me, and I was like, you know what? I can't even say come because she might still get pregnant.
Dog. I saw a post where they was like, in the year 3000, everybody's gonna be descendant of Nick Cannon or Keke Wyatt. Them two gonna repopulate the earth, like little by little.
You know what though? Like they're actually doing what our grandparents' generation were doing. Which is just having a whole bunch of kids.
I'm here for it, son. I mean, so when I say I'm here for it, I'm here for it if you have a family structure in place that makes sense for the kids.
Correct.
Right?
I think the Keke Wyatt piece works a little bit better than the Nick Cannon piece because they're all her kids, so they're all at home with her.
Right. So and even though there's different fathers, it's like the kids are still together.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Right.
So
right.
And if you're doing that, and then you have the money to do it, and you have the ability to financially take care of it, and you're gonna be there, and you have the time and effort to put into it. And honestly, you get to a point where once the kids outnumber the parents, kind of like every kid gets a kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oldest kid is like, hey, get them to.
Yeah.
And not only that, like once they hit a certain age, like you honestly treat them like employees.
Yeah. Like unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you wanna. But.
So what you think about Keke Wyatt?
Miss Only Child over here.
Right. Listen, it's hard because working in DC and seeing parents continuously getting pregnant.
I was waiting.
Right. And you have some. I hated it.
I completely missed it too.
I was like, damn. I guess nobody's
right. I'm listening to the story.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Right. You have to have a good head on your shoulder. I might think. I have some parents I've met where they have 6, 7 kids. and the 5 kids suffering because the first 2 get all the attention, and the
then,
other 5 can't read, can't spell. Where your mother?
That's shitty parenting at that point.
Right. So it's like, if Keke Wyatt have the resources and the money and she taking care of all of them, you say, I'm cool. You understand? But
it's 11 for her right now, right?
She's with the 11th right now.
She have a football squad.
Bruh.
How old is the oldest, you know?
No, I didn't even look. That doesn't even matter, dog. But I saw a picture of the family. They were all together in the family picture.
Yeah.
Beautiful looking family. And so...
I ain't gonna lie. Who the fuck is Keke Wyatt? Like, who is she? I mean, I know, but I don't know her. Like, I know the name, but I don't know her.
Same.
R&B singer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know. I know that she's an R&B singer, but it's like, there's so many R&B singers I couldn't name a song.
Right.
But then if you played it, I'd be like, that's her. Like, I remember we were talking about this with some rapper, and I was like, I don't know anything.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah,
and then you shared a couple of songs. I was like, oh, that's him. Okay, then I do know his music. But at the end of the day, like to what you were saying, I used to joke where I was like, if Khaled has another kid, I hope he gets the same kind of attention Assad gets, because
he had the second one,
right? And that's what I'm saying. And you notice, like,
he does not get the second.
I remember when Assad had his own Instagram, like everything.
Assad is everything,
right? And so I was like, I wonder if he's gonna give this type of like attention
and love to
because now you got to split that. It's very easy when you got one to just smother them with all of that.
And kids can tell too.
That's
like why it says you just treat she so unlike
sometimes. So I'll put it this way, like I got two different moms though. Like Cameron, I doted over that kid, like everything, right? And I do the same thing with Malachi, but Cameron was by himself for 9 years, and then as soon as Malachi came, like. You could see the resentment brewing. Like, I mean, he definitely loves his brother, but you see the resentment. And but it's to the point where, like, even now, Malachi wants to play basketball with his big brother and shit. Right. Cameron's a dick sometimes. I'm like, yo, it's to the point where I'm like, bro, be nice to the kid. Like he's 3.
But you know, too, it's sometimes it like when you grow up in different households, it's a little bit. Correct. It's also very different. You know, you're not living together. And I think to your point, I agree. Like sometimes when the children are and a child is being favored, because you could talk to adults now and they'll tell you, oh no, that was definitely mom's favorite. You know what I mean?
My sister was my parents' favorite.
Right.
You can tell.
And so the kids know as they grow up when one child is favored, when one child gets away with stuff they're not getting away with. So it definitely plays a part. And when you now have 7 or 6 or whatever,
or 11.
Right, but I'm not even getting to the 11. I'm talking about more like the parents you're talking about, like right here, like who don't have the money. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You don't have the.
They should have been pulling out.
And that's what I'm saying. Is that's where it becomes kind of irresponsible for like the average person who is like, well, I want a huge family. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Are you able to take care of a huge family, not just financially, but to give them the time, the effort to make sure? Because then you get that final kid who gets no attention, and that's the one that becomes a serial killer because he's like, nope. Shooting I
ain't getting no love, so I'm shooting everybody.
The school up. So, but them two, boy. On another topic, did y'all watch Tinder Swindler?
I 100% watched it.
I did.
I was so confused.
I did.
Were you?
But here's what I was confused. I was a little confused at these chicks. At the first chick.
Were you?
Yeah, bro.
I wasn't confused at all. Like, not at all. Like, I totally got the entire thing.
I understood.
I totally got the entire thing.
I understood. Not the taking off $5,000 loan spot.
I don't.
5,000. It was way more than 5,000.
I wasn't doing that. I'm sorry to tell you.
I didn't understand the going on a date getting on your private jet. Like first date, like, hey, I can't stay, but come take this trip with me, and being like, sure, why not? Like I'm like. Did you not watch Taken?
Let Chris Brown link me.
Here's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Here's the difference, though, right?
Right.
You know that Chris Brown is a celebrity.
Right.
So that's very different. Even if you know that you met this dude on Tinder and you happen to know that he's rich because he said so.
Right.
You really just gonna get on a plane with some...
I mean, so not me, right? Like, not me. I'm not getting on a plane with no dude anyway. But think about it from a psychology standpoint, right? Dude says he's the son of a billionaire, right? First date, granted, I'm with you. It's really ridiculous that you would go on a first date on a private jet. But has a private jet, tells you to come through, we're going to do a first date or whatever. Like, you start to believe, I think, that, like, this is normal. If where you are, your heart posture is on some I'm looking for love. Right? Like you get blinded off of some stupid shit. I'm not saying it makes sense because it's dumb to me. Like, I'm gonna tell you, if I meet somebody like, yo, private jet, I'm like, maybe next month? Like, how about we go to Fridays? Right? How about we go to Ocean Air Room? You know what I mean? Like, how about I drive and meet you there?
But that's why I said it confused me, because I'm like, because even like her friends were in the chat.
It's some like, fairy tale shit though, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, your friends are trying to common sense you in this chat. Like, yo.
But only some of them though, because some of them were like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
But even the oh my God, you don't know the context of it. They could have been like, oh, what do you mean you're getting on a fucking you can't.
I'm with you.
Well, I think it's also different because they're white. As black
100%.
We're not doing it because we already.
I was gonna say it, but I was like, I don't want to be the one to say it. So I'm glad she said
it. It's true. I think the fear,
we have fear,
right. That level of like perception of danger,
right.
So it's not even only that. So there's that part, but there's also the part that like, what is the likelihood that a black billionaire is going to do this with one of us?
Not even as a black, but it's not, the person doing it don't have to be black. We're talking about the quote unquote victim in this, right?
No, I get it.
So a black woman could have met this Israeli billionaire.
So that's a whole other layer. Right. At that point, like, she's gonna be like, okay, no.
I would like to believe she would, but you know, I don't even know anymore.
Right.
So it's a good point. There are some that would, but I think like as a total, like the vast majority are gonna be like, nope.
All right, so Precious, not Chris Brown, random billionaire. Like, but random, but okay, you meet random billionaire.
Doesn't even have to be billionaire, just a heavy millionaire.
Whatever, random rich person, right? First date, going well, and for like through the context of the conversation, the place he took you, whatever, you're getting the sense that he is actually rich. Like it's not just putting it on for the gram, like through whatever it is, you sized him up, you realize, oh, this dude does have money, and like in the course of the conversation, he says Miami. He don't say something extra. Here's why I say Miami, right? Listen. Here's why I say Miami, right? He don't say something overseas where like because you go to Miami, you
can figure your surroundings out.
It's different if he said like, let's go somewhere you ain't never been, right? And now you out there, you somewhere you don't know the language, you don't got nobody close by, nobody can't drive to pick you up,
and nobody even flying to see you. Like, yo, you gonna be all right.
Right. So he says something
for you.
So he says something semi-doable, right? A Miami, a Cali, or something. You taking a trip? The date is going well.
Nah, boy. Not the same night at least.
So here's a question. So are we talking private or are we talking about it like flying?
Private jet. Private jet.
Nah, boy.
I'm with her on that. Like,
not the same night.
But when I said I was confused, y'all looked at me like I was crazy. But y'all agreeing with me.
We're also black.
Y'all both agreeing with me. But
no. What we said is we understand why they did
it.
Why they were okay with it.
Nah,
like even down to the like, my enemies are after me. Can you like?
Right.
I understood.
Right.
I understood the con. Like, I really understood the con. Because I know dudes who, like, take advantage of chicks. Who get chicks to buy them stuff. And so me personally, I got too much pride to ever borrow money from somebody, right? Like, and the few times I had to do that, like, I'm still very cringeworthy. It's got to be somebody I really care about that I don't, like, I don't feel that they going to, shit on me for not paying it back on time or whatever it is.
This chick, the first one, was barely with the dude when she took out the Amex card and just gave it to him. Like, here.
The platinum at that.
Right. Like,
just hold that shit.
And then here was the next thing, right? I get it if he was like scamming rich women who was just giving him cash. Like, these chicks were of normal means, so they had to go get loans and credit.
Sorry, I'm not doing it.
That's actually the genius about it, though. Because if you think about it, like, a rich chick is not going to just give you money. A rich chick is going to be like, no. Like, it doesn't make sense.
But what I'm saying is, from the perspective of doing it with, like, a rich woman, right? I could see if he was, not saying that she would have done it, if it was scamming a rich person who had the money, where it was not that much of a loss to them.
Yeah.
But if I know, like, you come to me, and we just started dating a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and I need you to take out a credit card in your name and give it to me so that I can deal with my enemies or after me or whatever. Like, I'm just like,
wow.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a problem there. Like,
Dotish.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but again, that takes it back to me for like, it comes back to you are so focused on this love, because it's not real love, like, but you focus on love, that you're willing to put yourself out there. You're willing to gamble that amount of money because you're about to be the wife of a billionaire. Like that's the rationale that I have when I look at this shit. And I was like, you do it, Tish. You just do it, Tish.
No way. Ain't no way, bro. The worst.
He would have lost me right there.
The worst part of the story is at the end of it, because like he's doing interviews now.
Right.
He did not get any real jail time. He got like 5 months. Right. And they're still and at the end of the thing, they was like, and these chicks are still paying back,
bro,
the cards and shit.
I can't remember who it was, but I legit saw he did like a promo video, because that's what he's doing now. I guess people are paying him to do promo videos, whatever. So he'll hop on and he'll be on the private jet, and he'll be like, I want to shout out whoever it is and blah blah blah. Like make sure your enemies aren't again. Like after you bro, like serious shit.
Because he was never charged with any of that stuff. The only thing they charged him with was the fake passport.
Right.
And he can't be. There's no law that says he can't lie.
Right.
Not one.
And he didn't do anything where he didn't do anything where the fraud was like could be traced back to him, like because the cards were like in the chick's names and shit. So it's like, they gave it to him willingly. He didn't steal.
Yeah.
I just hope that like Netflix cut some cheese.
I hope that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I hope Netflix,
because at the end they were like they're still paying. They're still paying.
I'm like, Netflix,
y'all better give them some money, dog.
Not just give them some money. If I'm Netflix for this story, I'm like, all right, how much you owe to Amex? All right.
Let me write this off.
We're gonna take care.
Right.
You come tell your story, embarrass yourself in front of people.
Right.
Because this does
tell all of it.
Because this don't got a happy ending for you. You're gonna look real stupid when this ends.
And then he would at the end was like, yeah, I'm still on Tinder. Like, why? Like, and she was like, oh, I've still been on it. Like
I'm on it right now. Like
it's like, oh my god.
Like, I still believe in love. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in fairness to her, what are the odds of running into a dude like that again? You know what I'm saying?
Now I get it, but I do believe that there's a certain amount of accountability that she should take, and she should probably step back and be like, you know what? Instead of dating, let me figure out what I need to fix on my side that even led me to be in this situation. Because think about it, right? A rational person is not going to fall for this shit, so she could very easily fall for the same shit in the future.
Me go find this chick on Tinder, yo. I got some bills that need paid.
Me too, yo. You go, boss, I realize you ain't even touch your corona, you know.
It's on my belly.
Your belly, what, bubbling?
Well, no, it's not bubbling. I just had to be, I'm trying to get ready for summer. This man.
Yes.
I'm trying to get. I was waiting for you to give me some of these shopping because you tell me you was going to give me some. I ain't give me
you
some.
Did.
Yet.
Yeah, but I mean, you also had corona.
This one's mine?
Both of them are yours. See that? You get some champagne.
Thank you.
Some Prosecco.
All right, y'all. So Black History Month.
Grapefruit juice.
So it's Black History Month, or near the end of Black History Month.
I was about to say like it's done.
Yeah, near the end of it. This is gonna come out. We still gonna be in Black History Month. Before we get to the heavy topic of Black History Month, I oughta jump around a little bit because in commemoration of Black History Month, I saw a guy get slapped 17 times. Calling a dude.
17.
I'm sitting here like, if you gonna make certain statements, right, and you get in the repercussions, like I don't care who it is, dog.
Sure.
You're not hitting me 17 times in slow motion. At some point, I'm fighting. I don't care how big you are. If you don't knock me out with one of them, I'm not just gonna let you.
He should have gone for 28, just for like the number of days in February. Like,
he just kept coming like. I was like, fight back. Like, I wasn't rooting for him, but I was like, don't fight back. Do something. Like, swing, push him.
I was happy to see it.
I mean, I was happy to see it too, but at the same time, it got to the point I was like, all right, this is getting egregious.
This is unfair.
Like, he ain't even.
You gonna learn today.
Right. But white people, y'all can't use the word. Like,
they don't realize it.
I think Joe Rogan then got him fucked up a little bit.
No, it ain't no Joe Rogan.
I know.
I'm about to say, like, the same way how Trump didn't screw up the country and, like, it was in the fabric of the country all before. Same thing. A lot of white people, because I'm not going to use, like, a broad brush, but a lot of white people really have this complex that they are like entitled to everything.
Right.
And the thing is, most things they are entitled to. They can take land, they can take buildings, they can take people, but they cannot take that word. You won't catch these hands.
But you know what the thing is? Obviously, like we say it all the time, like, of course, it's not something, they don't say the N-word when they talking to their friends. You know what I mean? So they're...
To what friends? To the white friends or the black friends?
To their white friends. I'm talking like in their own little circles, right?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're using those words.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I know when I say the N-word, they don't say it as the N-word.
Oh, okay.
They use the word liberally when they're in their little circles.
For sure.
And so every so often they get out of that. Right. They get out of that comfort bubble.
And they forget, like, oh shit, I can't say this.
Right. And they get mad, and then you call somebody that, and then repercussions come, and all of a sudden...
You're mad.
Right now you're mad, right? Because that's where it's like when we say, "Oh, you can't say that." Yeah, we say you can't say that, but we just really mean is you can't say it publicly.
You shouldn't say it.
Right. You shouldn't say it, and you can't say it publicly around black people because whatever comes of that, if you do,
it's on you.
It's on you.
Mm-hmm.
So you should probably get out of the habit of saying it amongst your little circle.
Just don't say it.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right.
Like because now you're gonna slip up and say it in the wrong context,
and you're gonna catch these hands.
And you're going
or the what's it the iced tea?
Oh, the twisted tea. Did he call him a nigger?
I don't think he called him a nigger, but I think he was using it in.
Oh, that's right, he did. That is what it was.
And the dude was like, nah.
Right. Wow. He was like trying to explain. Right. And I say nigga all the time or some shit like that.
And the wild thing is, like, I looked and I was like, I totally get, like, I get it. Like, I get why you say it because you clearly. Like you've been accepted into
wherever you are,
wherever you're from, like, and your crew, like, you got black people who allow you to say this shit. The problem is, and it's this thing I tell my white friends all the time, right? Like, one, you can't say this shit around me ever. Right. So like, that's that, right?
Right.
Now,
don't say it around me
now, if you have other black friends that allow you to say that, understand that you are only allowed to say it to and around them.
And let me tell you something: you're not even allowed. But it's like they gave you a pass.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. But that means even if you're around them and some other black person comes around.
That's what I said. It has to only be them.
Right.
It can't be nobody else.
Nobody else. That pass isn't universal. Right. That pass does not extend.
Because best believe, Rich might have said, Lil Susie, you could say it. If I'm hanging with Rich and you say it.
Right. It's like Rich never said no.
I don't know who Rich is.
And real talk, I'm judging Rich kind of funny.
I'm definitely dog.
Son, you let her. Right. Like I'm looking at you kind of funny if that's the case. Right. So on the topic of race and relations and not saying the N-word, I feel like this comes to a point of where we need to start educating our white brothers and sisters. And the problem is a lot of the country does not want them to be educated properly with regards to race relations. So we have a big, not debate, because a lot of governments are just kind of a lot of state and local governments are taking it into their own hands,
right,
and how they're dealing with it. So it's no longer even a debate. I know in Virginia, they are not allowing teaching of what they're calling divisive language in schools. I know Florida had they have a bill going out where they're like, don't say gay because they don't want kids taught about certain things. So they're pushing to ban certain things being taught. So what are you guys' thoughts? We'll start with Precious. As an educator.
I was about to say, we got to add some context because as an educator.
As an educator, when you're not playing music, you're teaching the youth.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the whole thing with, like, we watched a few videos where a parent was basically...
Hey, but see, okay.
There's
this one issue I have with you, Rich.
What?
You be using things like a parent. You got to be more descriptive.
No, I mean
It was a black father.
I just wanna.
Nope. Black father.
Let me do my example.
Go ahead.
Let me do my example.
Go ahead.
Let me do this example.
Fucking pecan kids.
Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
So we got a parent who was basically, because the problem was he was saying that he was speaking on behalf of the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a black guy, because I was getting to that.
My bad.
Right. There's a black guy who said, I think
he's actually multiracial, I think he said.
Right. Yeah. So he's mixed, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He black.
And but you already see when you get once you start to categorize yourself a certain way, I can look at and see where the rest of your mindset is going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Once you start saying
I know your argument.
Right.
Yeah.
So he is of the mindset that the parents, or at least the parents in that community, because he's in North Carolina, don't want CRT or anything of those lines taught to their kids.
Sure.
And so what has been your experience with just dealing with teaching kids with things, dealing with race and the history of race in the country? What has your experience been, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's different for me because I've never taught in non-urban schools before.
Okay.
So it's never a problem with us. So we're going to tell the truth.
Right.
Whether you like it or not.
So then look at it from this standpoint. So not from your personal experience with your students, but when you see these kind of stories, like what is your position on how these arguments are being framed now?
I suppose it's another excuse for white people to not take accountability. Honestly. It's another excuse, like, I don't want my kid to know about what happened in slavery. I don't want my kid to know about it. And I'm just like, but why not? Why not?
Right.
Right. But to play devil's advocate, it's so weird because it's like, if we want to kind of move on and kind of go with the love thing, like, we keep bringing up what happened in the past type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. Yeah. It's so weird.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say it's weird.
Right.
But only because, like, I think that there's room for balance. Right. Ultimately, like, I agree with you. I don't think that the race card should be used for everything. I don't think that we should pull on history every single time that we have to deal with something. But I think it's also very dangerous to whitewash or almost like completely push aside what has happened, because then you got little white girls out here who think that Martin Luther King, freed the slaves.
Right? There you go. And it's embarrassing.
Right. And that was part of the problem with Black history being taught in general. Like, everything was Martin Luther King. So, like, if you...
And not even just Black history, but, like, that, it's also... Like, he's the go-to for even, like, every single, white conservative,
Democrat,
but that's what I mean.
But that's what I meant when I say Black history. It was like, that was what was taught. It was like MLK, and that was it. So he did everything. So,
and worse yet, like, what they do is they only look at MLK through, like, one lens, though, right? They don't look at, so they only look at him as the "I had a dream," because that's his iconic speech, right? But they don't look at his writings afterwards, where he actually starts talking about, like, oh, this shit is a lost cause, right? Like, they don't look at that part of Martin Luther King, because, like, that's not the part that has been publicized.
Right. It's not the popular. It's not the popular part to refer to.
Not only that, it's more in line now with the aggravated Black people.
That's what I mean.
Right.
So it's not going to be the popular, pacifist, nonviolent, all that other stuff.
Right.
Precious, part of what you said is actually, I think, part of the problem. Because, like you said, you teach I've always taught in urban schools, right? So the problem is, we aren't the ones that need to learn this
because racism is not a Black issue.
Right.
It is a white issue.
So it's like the constructs that keep creating the problem are not being addressed by the people
who need to learn,
who did it, and who are still benefiting from it.
The descendants of.
Because, so my take on it, I agree with what you said. I think that we have to a point, move past the always teaching about the hate part of it. I think I don't think that it's productive. But, like, unlike this father in the school, I'm not taking it to the extreme that he's going to.
Right.
Because I can't remember who said it, what program I was watching, but they mentioned, like, a lot of the things that were established in racism, a lot of things that was established through racism are still benefiting non-racist people 100%. Right now. And those people want those things in place.
And they don't realize
for
the
not
connection.
Because they're not racist. I truly believe that there are people who are like, they talked about redlining, where, like, you were not allowed to move into certain areas legally, period. And now those areas that you were not allowed to move into have flourished because of certain things funds being put in those areas. Now school systems got better and also other stuff. So now those places, while the people who live there now may not be racist or want certain things, they're also still like, yeah, but I still don't want affordable housing here. I still don't want certain things here. And I don't do raise it, but I just don't want my property value to go down.
Sure.
So you're benefiting. And I don't think that those people are racist. I think they're just looking out for themselves. Because it's not all, I've seen a lot of black people that are in the comments of some of these things that are like, yeah, I don't want affordable housing next to my house either. I paid $1 million for this house. Like, I don't, you know, so it's like you're benefiting from some things that started oppressing people.
Right.
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, but I think that kind of touches on like what I was saying though, right? Like, you can't forget your history, because when you forget the history, then this is what happens.
Exactly.
Like, this is exactly what happens when you just like completely avoid looking at the fact that yes, there were cities and states and counties that were redlined. There were like practices when it comes to like loans that certain people will not get loans here, like all that kind of shit. If you never learn that, then you have this mindset that everyone can literally pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Where it's like, but nah, nigga, you had boots. I don't got boots on.
And so the problem, I think, is like what we have now is they're using critical race theory as a scapegoat. You know, because they're saying, okay, and they're using this extreme example where like, I don't want my kids being taught that because you're black, you're immediately oppressed, period. And because this person is white, they're immediately evil and they're immediately oppressing you. And I'm like, but that's not what it's teaching.
Right. At all.
So when you use that extreme example, I can be like, yeah, cool. I don't want that either.
Right.
But can we still talk about all this other stuff?
But I will play devil's advocate here, right? And I will say that like there is still some validity to that, right? So not from a socioeconomic standpoint, because yeah, you're right. Like my kids are not gonna grow up in a space where like they can't afford to do certain things that other kids that might look like them in other areas can't afford, right? But there are certain situations where someone looks at my kids, doesn't know shit about them, and only sees 2 black boys, right? Like, so like there is still some validity to some amount of oppression, right? Like just because of who you are. Now, again, I'm not saying that is what critical race theory is teaching. So let me make that real clear.
Right.
But I do believe that there still is some validity that like at this point in time, the fact is there's black people by themselves without anything else, because they're black, they're looked at differently than white people. Right. And they're treated differently than white people. And if we can't acknowledge that piece right there, then we'll never get any further, because like it's almost like being in a relationship, right? And let's say the dude cheated on the chick, right? And even though she knows he cheated on her, and he knows she knows, he just gaslights her the entire time and never actually like acknowledges that he did this shit. You can't go much further without the acknowledgement, right? Like I think the acknowledgement is honestly one of the most important parts. If collectively white people are like, you know what, we really fucked you guys over, and here's like, and we understand why. Not even we're gonna give you a handout now, but like we get it. The problem is we're not like, a lot of people aren't even willing to say we understand all the things that happened to fuck you guys over. And of course, not us, but like ancestors of ours, or not even ancestors of ours, because our ancestors were from the Caribbean, but like, you know what I mean? Like other black American ancestors, like, they don't even want to acknowledge this shit. And it's really difficult to get to a point of saying, all right, let's teach critical race theory, if they don't even acknowledge that, you know, we fucked over some people. Right. Not us, but our ancestors fucked over some people in this country. Right. I see the wheels turning. I see the wheels turning.
All right, so Precious, you teach in a school now, theoretically, mixed bag, 50% white, 50% black, right? Right. You moved to Virginia, teaching school down there.
Never. Right?
See, it's not me.
Not for the money. The money good.
Nope. No, right. I'm only teaching black kids. Sorry.
Hey, I rock with it. I don't knock it at all.
I don't knock it, but for the sake of argument, theory, right?
Just a hypothetical.
How would you get around trying to educate trying to educate all of the kids about racism without making it divisive. You using that word. Like, what do you think would be a good way to navigate that?
I think everything boils down to relationships, honestly. Like, as teachers, like, one of the things they taught us is relationships above, like, all things. So if the teacher has a relationship with their students, we can honestly say whatever we want. And they're not going to go back and snitch or say anything. But when a kid realizes, I mess with Miss Layne, I mess with Mr. Rich, Mr. Hazard, whatever, like they
she's like, I'm not gonna call your name, Mr. Hazard. Do you know my first name?
She doesn't know
our Dre.
She doesn't know. She doesn't know our last names.
McLeod.
Right, like you see,
and what's mine?
You saw the wheels turning, right?
I gotta go through my head.
No, don't go.
Don't worry. It's all right. Go ahead.
Right. So it's like, I've said some wild stuff in my classroom, but because I have a relationship with my kids, you will never know about it. You will never know about it, right? I think what these teachers need to work on is their relationship with these kids, right? They're just coming off the back, well, y'all did this and y'all did this, and relax.
I think some of the teachers genuinely don't want to teach it.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I think that not only they don't want to teach it, take a step back. I feel like a lot of them probably feel uncomfortable teaching it.
Right. And
I can only imagine.
Yeah, especially like imagine like you're a white teacher in a mixed school, like with white and black kids, and I'm not trying to say this to like give them a pass or anything. I'm just like
to understand context.
Like, I can see where you may not be comfortable teaching something that will now paint a certain group that you think will paint a certain group in a negative light. And I think what it starts with is we need to move past that mindset and have some of these uncomfortable conversations. Because to your point, if you're not taught some of the ugly truths, because they're truths, and you're not taught, I think where part of it gets broken down is now you have the factual truth, and then you have the things that were put in place that people are trying to deny were put in place.
Right.
So if I can say, yes, we all agree slavery happened.
Right.
We all agree civil rights were denied. What some people are not trying to agree on is that during that time, things were set up and put in place that continued to negatively impact black people.
Right.
And they're saying, no, when black people were freed, that was it. You know?
Right.
Done. Everybody was equal.
You have all the opportunities.
Right. You know what I mean? And I think there comes a point where we have to kind of acknowledge that, no, that was not the case. Like it was not the case. And the only way to properly dismantle some of the systems that still exist, like we always bring up the case with the banking thing where the appraisers were like downgrading the price of the houses.
And that's just happening now. It's not like it's some old shit. This is like some now shit.
Literally denying access to wealth to people based solely on race. So we can't keep pretending that it isn't real. Now I will give you, right now the things are probably not in writing like it was before, but it's still in practice. So the fact that this is still being practiced means it's still something that needs to be addressed.
Correct.
But
I mean, so like going back to teachers though, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these teachers, and let me backtrack. The amount of like percentage wise black teachers versus white teachers, and then if you even go further, like black female teachers versus black male teachers, like it's astronomically low, right? Like you don't have a ton of black female or male teachers in predominantly white areas. It's mostly in predominantly black areas or mixed areas. And then like the male teachers, like they're just not happening, right? So what we're going to say is the vast majority of teachers are white teachers across the country. I'm almost certain, just not to give them a pass, but I'm almost certain when they start reading some of these things, like this historical context of what is going on, at least in some of the newer books, they're probably like, damn, I didn't even realize this shit. And there's probably some shame even within reading this and being like, I can't teach these kids this shit. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, not a pass, but like just trying to understand why this is even an issue. Because to me, like the road we're on right now, where we avoid looking at like the things that actually happened in history because of comfort or discomfort is a dangerous space to be in. Because the moment that we decide that we're gonna whitewash this, we're gonna like choose and pick the things that we're okay with versus the things we're not okay with, means that there are a bunch of kids that grow up not understanding the full context of who they are and how they show up in society.
Right. So Precious, what is one of the biggest challenges for you right now with like educating kids in an urban, like educating the kids that you're teaching right now? What is one of the bigger challenges?
How long do we have? Like,
ooh, we got about 35 minutes left.
My biggest challenge is parents showing up and doing what they're supposed to do. It's everything we eat. I can go down to MTSS meetings and differentiated instruction and all the teacher talk, and everything always boils down to the parent. Every single thing. Why is the kid in 4th grade reading on the kindergarten level? Right. I have so many kids that are reading on the kindergarten level. I don't think a lot of people don't even see it. Like, it's real. Like, it's real.
So my question for that is do you think that is more the parent or the teachers that came before you? Like, how do you get...
And that's the difficult part too. But even if special education is one thing.
Okay.
Right? I have some kids who are sped, and I'm like, I got you. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Right? Then you have the ones that are considered normal.
Okay.
Right? And you're just like, yo, like, I tell the parents, this is what you can do. Read 30 minutes a day. They come back the next day. Did your mom read you? No, she didn't want to be bothered. She sent me to my room. Right? Okay. So it's like, I only see the kids for so long, 8 hours a day.
Right.
Like, they need to go home and they need to be reading.
So the wild part, though, is you say only 8 hours a day. The kid spends more time with you than they do with their parent.
With me.
Because when you factor
chunks,
in...
though.
Right. But when you factor in, like, sleep time. Right? Like, the kid actually spends more time at school than they spend with their parent.
Right. But I think the problem with the teacher is I have multiple students.
For sure. No, without doubt.
So even though they spend more time
here. And then
they
gotta go to PE, come back to
Right. And then they're not getting that one-on-one like they do with their parents.
Right. And I got 25 kids. Half of them reading on kindergarten level. Half of them, they're kind of 4th, 5th grade. And you know what's funny? The ones that are reading on level, their parents are super involved.
Well, always. But you know what, though? Like, I won't lie. Like, even when I was a child, right? Like, that was an issue. And so I grew up inner city, DC, and mostly Black schools. And the same thing, a lot of parents were not involved. The parents that were involved, their kids tended to excel a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is a huge difference between us as a community versus them as a community.
Absolutely.
Like, and I'm not gonna say on a whole, but like at least in this area, right, where the socioeconomic spectrum, where like up here compared to the rest of the country, like I don't want to say there's no reason, because I get like there are a lot of parents who have like multiple jobs or they have multiple kids or whatever.
And that's part of the struggle with living in this area as well.
Yeah,
it's like you need so much income to be able to afford to live in this area that a lot of the times the parents are like, well, okay, this job alone is not cutting it.
Correct.
So I now need this side job. We like everyone here, the three of us have a side job in addition to our main income, right?
But I'd say this though, our side jobs are all like a luxury. It's not like we need them.
Right. We don't need them per se. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who do need that side job to supplement. Like, 'cause, like I have coworkers who have side jobs to now supplement their income to make sure that they can afford the little things that they need, and then still have to come home and be parents.
Right.
And I know it's rough dealing with that. And then if your kid is behind in something, now you as a parent are trying to play catch up.
Right.
So I'm wondering, how do they get, like you're talking about kids reading on a kindergarten level, how did they get to your point? Like they got to 4th grade.
Bro, some of these parents can't even read at like 4th grade. I'm not even trying to be ass. Like I remember, so Common Core is typically around math though, right?
It's both.
It's both? Okay. So I remember there was a math night for Cameron. Like this is years ago.
I can't do new math.
Right. So I cannot. I'm strong in math. Like I was engineering major in college until I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. But I'm strong in math. I remember going to the math night, and the whole premise was you're going to teach the parents the math that they're teaching the kids so they can help the kids out, you know, with the school. So like, I was already helping Cameron out with classwork anyway. And I was able to figure out what they were trying to do. And I was like, this is stupid, but I'm going to still do it. Whatever, right? And I remember the moment that, like, the teacher was teaching the parents how to do this shit. And I'm knocking the shit out quickly because I'm like, this is easy. Boom, knock this out, boom. And there were parents that were struggling with it. And I was like, if parents are struggling with this, like, how the hell are they supposed to be a resource for their kids?
Right. Why did they change math? That's my problem.
Listen, Common Core is horrible.
So the rationale, so I think from a strategy standpoint, it makes sense. Application, not so much. But from a strategy standpoint, what Common Core does is it tries to teach the kids strategy and understanding, like, the comparisons between multiplication and division. Whereas we were just told, just do this and just do this.
But when we did it, it made sense.
No, for sure. But it made sense to us because we're also inquisitive to a certain extent, where we start seeing some of the similarities. They're like, math and science is not strong in the U.S. Like, and it hasn't been for a long time. So it actually makes sense. I get why they did it. The problem is, in order to figure out if this even works, they have to do it through a generation, right? Like, you literally have to start and see, will this work in the next 18 years?
Right.
And the problem is, we're at like 18 years, and we're like, we still ain't good at math. Like, this is still not working. It's still not working.
It's not working. You know, and again, like, this is not a blame game. This is not a, you know, because I feel it for parents. It's really hard for me because I'm not American. So I compare how my mom was with me working 2 jobs, and I still was the top of the class. And I don't know if it was just a me thing or if I was afraid of my mom.
It's probably a combination.
Right. Like, my mom, and we had a schedule. Right.
And your mom probably also sacrificed sleep.
Listen,
it was like,
when she comes home, my notebook with my homework better be on the table so she can check it. And if she sees a mistake, I gotta get up and do it. Right. And all of this needs to be, you know, like, parents are just so, not soft, but it's kind of like, I don't want to wake up my baby.
They fucking soft.
Wake them up. Wake them up to redo this paragraph because it's wrong.
They're very soft.
It's wrong.
Yeah, I think even parenting has changed a lot. Because I remember reading, I shared a meme today. Well, when I say I think, right, I know there are still some parents who try to hold on to some of the ways that we were raised.
Sure.
But I know a lot of society is trying to do away with some of those things. Sure. And honestly, I feel like a lot of that stuff to me worked. You know, like when I look at it and I think, I read the meme today I sent it where it was like, you know, I don't want my kid to ever be like, oh, if dad finds out, he'll kill me. I want my kid to feel like I can call my dad and blah, blah, blah. And it was like this. And they even huge stretch where they were like, you know, raising kids through fear is just showing them that they're not, that they're a burden and blah, blah, blah. And it made this whole comparison. I'm like, no.
It's bullshit.
Right, because I don't think it's raising kids through fear. I think kids should have
a healthy level of fear.
Not even just a healthy level of fear, a healthy level of fear of consequences.
Right. Not
action.
Of the parent.
Like,
of the consequences.
You're not just scared of your dad in general. Like, it's not like, oh, I got an A. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
why not an A+?
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, but you should have a that's gonna support you and praise you and stuff when you do good. But at the same time, you should be concerned about if you do poorly, there's consequences. Because, like, at work, you're worried about if you know you could get fired from your job.
Right. You don't want to do that thing.
Right. That's the consequence to doing something that could get you.
I need this money.
Right. So I think that part of it is just changing the way that parents are even dealing with children. A lot of that comes back to what you were saying. We're like, no, a parent isn't going to wake the kid up to go. It's like, oh, they'll quicker argue with the teacher.
They'll quicker argue with me.
And you throw in even further than that. Like, you have different parenting styles. So like, so even within the same household or within the same kid. So me, I'm very much old school to a point, like almost hybrid. I've never spanked Cameron because I never had to. Like, I can literally just talk to him, and apparently the bass of my voice, but I don't realize that there's that much. Like, he just cries. Right. We're like, okay. But like, mom, you know, and not to knock her, like, I think that, like, it totally makes sense, but mom wants to comfort. And she still wants exactly what I want, but we just look at it differently.
You just have different approaches.
Right. And me, I'm like, he gonna be all right.
Right.
I don't care if he cries. Like, I don't care if he's sleepy tomorrow.
Right.
But you know what the thing is with that? I think that creates a good mix in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't need 2 tyrants, but you also don't need 2 soft parents.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
that could create a good mix.
Correct.
But all right, guys.
So last question about this though.
Yeah.
So do you believe that it is imperative that we continue teaching critical race theory and Black history, despite the fact that there are people who are against it, or you believe like, you know what, they don't really fuck with it,
No.
they shouldn't be forced to do it.
They need to teach it.
Okay.
Like, systematic racism is like
real.
absolutely a thing.
Right.
It's a thing, right? And they need to know, especially like, and a lot of kids, like especially our generation, and even like the millennials. Well, we're the millennials, aren't we?
I am not a millennial.
You actually
What
are.
are we?
I'm a zennial. Biatch.
Nope.
What?
Okay, so I go. I'll say it. Like, the beauty behind me saying this is that honestly, it depends on who, like, what like person defines it, because there's not one. There's no one definition. There's some people who say it's like from, I think it's like 76 to some other number, and there are other people who say it's 81. The people who say it's 76, like, that's different than the people who
Here's the thing, though. The numbers are what they are.
He's like, look, I'm not
right.
into this.
No, because you know what? I realized what it was. Like, so a lot of Gen Xers did not want to be classified as millennials. So they moved.
We don't want y'all here anyway.
So they moved the
they moved the number.
Right.
Right.
To make themselves still Gen Xers, right?
Right.
But in reality, they're just older millennials. And they're actually in this amazing space where...
And that's why I said Zennial. I didn't say Generation X or millennial.
Right.
It's like it's the cusp.
Right. That's I know. They created that to try to not associate, because there was always this stigma about millennials from...
So I think it's more than just a stigma though, right? Like it's also, so when you look at a generation, we're looking at 18 to 24 years as a generation, right? So if I am born at the beginning of a generation, right? And definitely, like I'm more like the generation before than the people that were born toward the end of the generation. But when you say millennials, you're talking about the majority
your group
of the generation. Is like, but I'm not like that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I think that became the problem. People started to associate certain character
calling
traits.
myself a Zennial, bitch.
You're all the way a millennial. All the way.
But like I say, they still need to teach it, especially for the white audience, because they're
that's
majority.
really all the ones.
They're the only ones that need to learn it.
For the majority, because if we really want things to change, we need them to stand up for us. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Especially
I don't even think so much about standing up for us.
They need to understand the context of all this shit.
Just accept it. Like, you know what? You're right.
But the problem for a lot of them is once you say that these things are real, it almost starts to delegitimize some of your accomplishments in your mind. You know what I mean? You feel like you don't want to be told, no, you had advantages.
Right.
And that was part of, not the whole reason, but it was part of what got you where you are.
Particularly if like you weren't wealthy already. So let's say you were middle class and you built yourself up to be wealthy. Like a lot of white people that I know who were middle class, who are doing really well now. They might not be wealthy, but they're like definitely on the path of being at least rich. They don't. It's almost like taking away from
their accomplishments,
the fact that they had to work toward there. It's like, yeah, but you also didn't start off fucking poor.
Right. You didn't have you did not have the roadblocks, because not even just starting off poor.
Right.
Starting off poor is one thing, but if I'm starting off poor, I'm being told, or my parents were told, or their parents were told, you can't move into these neighborhoods.
Right.
You can't send your kid to these schools because you're not in the
have
zone for these schools.
That other people just don't
have. Your neighborhood is not getting certain funding, so you're not even able to get. Okay, you got to stay in this school. Can we build this school up then?
Right.
Nope. You know what I mean? So little things like that where you start to say, okay, hey, and don't get me wrong, there are poor white people too.
Of course.
Who are definitely who are living like trash. Yeah, I get that too. Right. That's why, like, even with the Dave Chappelle story with the not wanting affordable housing, and when I really kind of looked at the neighborhood, I was like, it's poor white people that's going to be in these houses. It's not.
But the irony though is like in his last special, he was like, the kind of women he likes are like white women with dirty feet, like walking
right, like he was talking about,
around.
right. Because when you think about where he lives, it's like, yeah, he's not even really trying to keep. If I'm not saying that's what he was doing, but if that's what he's doing, it's not even black people being affected by this.
Correct.
But so, yeah, I think I'm with you. Like, I believe that we need to find a way to teach it.
Right.
But, and I'm not even saying leave the divisive stuff out. I'm saying, okay, I don't have to teach kids the extreme stuff that y'all are using every time you make an example of it. Sure. Like, okay, let's take that out and just teach about what actually happened and what is a result of what actually happened.
I challenge that a little bit, just a little bit. So I don't think you even have to take out the divisive part, because the thing is this: the only time it's divisive is if people feel like it's about them, right? Like, to me, framing it from the standpoint of this is what happened. We're not saying that you did it. We're not even saying that your parents or your grandparents did it, but people who look like you did it. And at the end of the day, you still benefit from a lot of this shit. So it's not about you, right? See, like, let's take it a step back. Right.
As soon as you say that, though, it now goes into the realm of what they're using as the reason to not teach it.
Fuck them, dog.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
nope, fuck them.
Again,
we're not removing the history, bro.
Right. but I'm saying I'm saying like at the end of the day, we can find a compromise.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm a compromise.
Stuff still needs to be taught.
Right.
So
teach it. The end.
Nah, cause I'm just thinking about a couple of things as I'm looking at this. All right, so we got Kim Porter, the officer that shot Dante Wright.
Yep.
Got her verdict came down.
Yep. 24 months.
2 years. Can be out in 16 months with good behavior.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I see your face already. Like, I'm scared, but go ahead, Precious.
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you one thing though. I'm not a parent, and it scares me. It scares me shitless of me knowing that I'm gonna have a black kid, right? Because I know something's wrong with me, and I'm a little bit off, right? I will burn this world to the floor. I
don't think you're off at all. Like, I think a lot of black moms feel that way.
I'm not going on no podium saying I forgive you. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It will go completely a different way.
Yeah.
Right. And like it's like every time we hear guilty, everyone starts cheering, and then they say 24 months, and you're just like, yo, this can't be real.
Okay.
This can't be real.
So I mean, I don't know. So I'm of two minds. One, we discussed this, and we had a conversation about this week, but like I forgot that we discussed this like technically last season when it actually originally happened. And so much time has passed before they could actually go to the trial and for her to be convicted. So the fact that she's even guilty is unfortunately a win, right? Like a small win, but a win, right? But if we go back to like the episode, and I can't remember exactly which episode it was, we go back to the episode, the conversation that we were having was framed around it just being negligence. It wasn't like specifically about race per se. Like, granted, like underneath it all, it might have been like some subconscious race shit, but like she was just a really shitty officer because there was no need to actually pull the firearm.
There was no need to pull the taser.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just dumb because and you can see in the video, like even the other officers was like, what is going on?
So like, this is one of those that's, so it's kind of fitting, or not even fitting, but it was, the guys, the McMichaels who shot Ahmaud Arbery, they all got found guilty on the hate crime.
And they got federal time too.
Right.
Or getting federal time too.
Right. And I think it was almost like a balance for me.
Right.
Because with the Kim Porter one, I'm not torn. When I heard 2 years, I was like, that's about right. Like I removed myself from like any race aspect of it and from being a parent or anything.
Right.
And I just kind of looked at it like, if we're saying that we're accepting that it was a mistake, right? And you just take it in a vacuum, like no criminal history, no criminal background. So this would be the first charge, and yet still killing someone. But if we're accepting that it was a mistake, it was a stupid mistake, there was absolute negligence. There was no reason, like we said, to even have gone for a taser because you had the male officers who were
had it under control.
Who were getting him out the car. You had to kind of push them out of the way
to shoot it.
To even go to the taser. So it was so in reality it was a unnecessary escalation of force. It was 3 of y'all there. Why not put 2 hands on him and help them pull him out? You know? Right. So from that perspective, she's absolutely wrong and definitely needed to be fired, charged because someone was killed, needed to be charged, and all this other stuff.
Sure.
I don't like me. I can't do 30 days in jail, right?
30 days. I couldn't do a week in jail.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm looking at 16 months, and I'm not even saying that 16 months.
I ain't wiping my shit at all, you know. I'm taking that shit, I don't wiping. Itchy, whole day. Hey, come true. Yeah, come true.
I don't know that would. I don't know that would.
Hey,
right.
I
never been in, but I don't know that.
I gotta create as many barriers as possible.
I don't know. I'm doubting you're the first person to think. So I don't know, bro. You're thinking about this, right? You're thinking about this from the wrong aspect. I want to be outside. Like I'm not even thinking about it.
I want to be outside too, but like I am afraid of getting bullied more than being in a cage. I'm just gonna put it that way. So I'm looking at it like it doesn't sound like a lot, and it really doesn't for somebody's life. Sure.
But at the same time, when I look at like the whole big picture, I'm like, if I take emotion out of it,
right,
it sounds about right. Like 24 months is about what should happen, because now I think like that situation where the guy was driving, the truck driver, and he hit that and killed that family or whatever. Like it's an example of how, because he got like stupid time,
right? And he had to get a pardon,
right?
In order, and even still, the time was like too much.
Right,
because the pardon came down in I think like 10 years.
Yeah, like even that.
It was stupid. That just don't make sense.
And that was also a mistake. So if we're saying these were errors,
right. Which and I think that like the common thread here, right, is that laws are antiquated and they have to be revisited. And the difficulty is, it's like the beauty and the difficulty of this country, right? Like it takes a lot to change a fucking law. Right? So which is a beauty from the standpoint of we just don't want people out here just changing laws like left, right, and center. But the difficulty is when these certain situations happen, and like I think both of these situations to a point are outliers to a certain extent. I think the truck driver is way more of an outlier than this one.
Yeah.
Right? But like particularly the truck driver, it's like, bro, we definitely need a pardon here. Like there's no, even 10 years, granted, it was supposed to be like 100 and something years.
It was something.
Like bringing it down to 10 years, that's still too much, dog.
If we're saying it was an accident,
right?
You know,
like we all to the point where even the families of the victims were like, he doesn't deserve this much time. It's sad that our family members are dead, but like, why are you trying to do this to this guy?
Right. So that's why I'm like, the problem I have is that we're constantly having to compare, and this is where the race comes in. Like I'm not even putting race into the actual shooting, right?
Sure.
Let's say I take that out of it and I say she was stupid and negligent and that was it. But then now the race comes in when we get to the sentencing part, because now and it goes back to the way the system is. Like it automatically looks at certain people and gives them a more leeway to make mistakes, more leeway to be stupid, to be careless, to be reckless, whereas someone else that looks a little different gets more time, you know, for the same or similar situations.
Yep.
That's my bigger problem with it. Like, I think the 24 months is fine if someone else who was Black or Latino or just not a cop would get the same treatment in the same situation.
Right.
That's the problem.
But it ends up being difficult though, because that's a law in one state versus a law in another state versus a law in another state.
Right. Like, but here's the thing,
it's just not balanced.
I don't even think it's so much the law as much as it is the human aspect of it. The judge, the person who's actually giving out the time, handing down the sentences, and using their discretion.
Yeah, but if you remember with the truck driver, it was a mandatory minimum. So that's why he got all those years. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not just discretion. Like to your point, you're right though. Like a lot of times judges we going real extra, like, bro,
Right.
you don't need to do this shit.
Right.
But sometimes the laws themselves, like, pin the arms of the judges behind their back. And it's like, I have to charge this person with this shit, even though I can look at it and be like, I don't want to. And it's saddening when I see some of the videos of like the judges like, I don't want to charge you this, but I have to.
Right. I don't want to give you this time, but this
but dog, hold this time though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's where, like you said, sometimes you need a governor who kind of like looks at it like, nah, bro, we're just gonna, because the governor can commute those sentences.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Can be like,
but even with that, when the governor should have been like, yo, probation. Like,
right. No, I mean like,
right.
Like, so like you won't be able to change the ruling.
Right.
But now once the ruling is done, okay, cool, I'm gonna commute the sentence. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. This was the minimum.
Right. And
you did your part.
You're gonna do a month per person. Okay?
Right.
You didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
So
So then we have old Sha'Carri
Richardson.
Sha'Carri Richardson.
I honestly, like, before you even go into this, the way her name is spelled, I'm not trying to be that guy, but
Apparently you're about to be though.
I am though. Like, bro, like I honestly, and it's not just her parents, but every parent who does this shit, like, I look at it from the standpoint of I've had to actually hire people. And I've had to read resumes, and when I see the name on a resume, I'm
this
like,
is black and white. This is
It's not just it's across the board. I'm like, what were your parents thinking? Like what? Seriously.
Like I know you see some weird names.
I see.
I know that
because I have some teacher friends who have told me some of the names. I can't remember some.
Oh, I remember the best ones. They were twins, and my mom. She wasn't a teacher, but she was an administrator for a school. The school I went to, actually, middle school and elementary. There were these twins, Lamangelo and Orangelo.
I've heard.
And it was like
lemon jello.
Right. The mother loved lemon jello and orange jello when she was pregnant and named them Orangelo and Lamangelo.
I've heard.
So pissed.
Look,
you imagine being that kid? Like, I don't want to go by this name.
Go by this name.
I remember a girl I knew named her kid after her brother and her sister, just combined their names into one.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and it was not a word. It was like Antangelo or some shit like that. So yeah,
or like Wolf.
That's white people.
Yeah, I know. This is white people now.
Right,
like
they go
Wolf,
the other
or Apple,
or like whatever Elon Musk's kid's name is.
Right.
So I remember you I googled it after. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but you know what? His kid's never gonna apply for a job ever.
But it's not even about like applying for a job though.
So
it's not solely about that. It's also being a part of a bigger whole, right? No. It's like, yo, what's your name? And it's like that kid's name is like
Doug, I'm absolutely coming up with a nickname, or like if my name, once I get old enough to
just call me X.
Right.
Right. Like just call me X.
J, Junior, or something. Right. You know what I mean?
Granted, my name is actually like an equation. But just call me X.
Because I've had friends like that in high school where I did not know their name until like I saw it on a paper somewhere. I didn't know their first name. Right, because the name was something
so different.
It was either so different or for whatever reason they didn't like it. So they would like go by a middle name or go by a nickname or something.
That's like my boy Nemesis. He goes by his middle name.
Oh yeah?
I'm not gonna say what his first name is. He's not right. I'm not gonna say his first name. It's not a bad thing, but it's like it's one of the names where honestly I always was like, yo, Gary this, Gary that, Gary that. And I remember the day when I heard his first name and I was like,
who is that?
And it's mother calling him. I'm like,
Dog, that's like Rusty. Like for years in high school, we were in high school together. I didn't know his first name until I saw it on paper somewhere.
Really?
Right. And his first name was very normal first name, but he just insisted on going by his middle name.
Call me Rusty.
Right. No, Rusty's not even a name.
I was about to say, that's not his middle name.
That's not even one of his names. That's just a nickname we gave him. So, but his first name, wouldn't go by. We had to see it on paper somewhere and be like, oh, who's this? You know?
Okay, Michael.
Right. So, but old Sha'Carri, so she was on social media, and she was basically bringing up the story of the Russian figure skater who was allowed to compete despite testing positive for a drug that turned out to be a performance-enhancing drug.
Right. Right. So I don't know if it was actually for performance enhancement. But
it wasn't,
it was
but the drug was a performance-enhancing drug. And, she wasn't allowed to compete
Right.
because of weed.
Right.
Totally went race on it.
Right.
What are y'all thoughts? Because she went straight race card on it.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, all right, so it kind of goes back to the point I was making with like the whole shootings and the truck driver. I think that the rules themselves are antiquated and they need to be changed. Right.
Need to be changed.
That said, I'm not gonna give you a pass. As an adult, you know that marijuana is against the fucking rules. Like you don't get a pass. Like you don't get a pass at all, right? So there's that aspect of it. I understand to a certain extent, like the desire to compare the two, because people like to be victims. Like people like to be victims. So everything she's been posting has been about like, what's the difference? The only difference is black and white. Actually, that's not the only difference. Like one difference is that you're a fucking adult and she's a child. Like that's a whole other difference. One other difference is like the child was given something for, I think she like, is it a heart issue that she has or something like that?
I don't know if she has the heart issue.
I can't remember what it was, but whatever she was given.
But it was a banned substance.
Right, it's a banned substance. Like, and it's not a pass, but like.
So she was given.
Yeah, she was given the thing, right? So like, and it's also not even a case of me like trying to trivialize or discount what Sha'Carri was going through, because I understand, right? Like, dog, 2017 was the most difficult year of my life. We're talking about end of an engagement, about to go into custody court, like. Spider dies, and then like my aunt's husband dies too, like all within the span of like a month and a half. Like I smoked too. That was when I started smoking. I was like, this shit is good, right? I will also say this shit slows you down. So like, I wasn't going to race anybody. So I get like why she might have felt like, you know what, let me just go do this shit, because sometimes you feel like fuck it. Like I don't care about tomorrow right now. I care about right now.
Okay.
I get it, but. Dog, shut up. You were about to lose in the fucking Olympics anyway. Like, at least you didn't get to lose in the Olympics. Because number 1, 2, and 3 was from Jamaica. Like, it wasn't going to be you. You wasn't going to be anybody.
Right.
Because right after the Olympics, you ran and got dusted.
Right. She got dusted. And my thing is, I agree with her to some extent. I believe that rules are rules. Okay. They should have cut her.
So you agree with her?
No. I don't agree with her with the black-white thing. I just think rules are rules.
Right.
Sure. She should have gotten cut.
Oh, you mean the white girls?
Yeah.
Well, but so here's the thing, though, right? I think the part that most people missed was that it wasn't like the same body made both calls. Right. So like Team USA was the ones who told her she couldn't compete.
Correct.
Right.
The Olympic Committee said nothing. They didn't weigh in. They never stopped her.
Right.
Correct. Team Russia knew that she was doping.
And not only that, historically has known
that
there are people that
and they
still
still
were like, fuck it.
So Sha'Carri's country didn't let her compete. That girl's country let her compete.
Correct.
So it wasn't like the Olympic Committee made any of these calls.
Right.
And so her making this comparison was again playing this victim card, because it's like she's acting like the same person made both calls. Like, no, your country said this. Right. The other country didn't. It was like,
you should have been running for Russia.
Right. If you was running for Russia, they'd have been helping you. Like, what else you need?
Right. Like, matter of fact, weed? No,
like, weed?
You can't smoke weed.
Right.
Let me give you something else.
Take some of the shit that we give the horses. Like, so that's why I was like, we can't keep, my bigger problem with this is we can't keep playing the race card every time something don't go our way, because then when something happens and it's actually race related, we start to water down this race card. We've been playing it every single time.
It's the Sean King effect, right? If everything is an issue, then nothing's actually an issue.
Right. You're fighting every single battle and then a lot of us with the common sense can look at half of them and be like, no, you're actually making you're exacerbating this situation way more than it needs to be.
Correct.
So again, I wish her the best in her career or whatever. And it's not even a knock or a negative thing, but now you have to own the choice you made, own what came from it, and don't now start picking and choosing, because you're going to be busy looking at every Olympic athlete and now trying to bring your case back up, when the reality is
just focus on your running.
Right, because it was the thing. I forgot about her completely. So she, right now, her goal should be, I'm training, I'm getting ready for the next one. You're bringing this back up, and now I'm bringing back up the thoughts like, no, you messed up on that one.
Lost.
And now I'm thinking about, and then when you did run, like the one race she came in second to last.
Oh, she got burned.
Right. Like, so not even just by like, And the problem was, like, because she was the story,
Right.
they didn't even interview the other American that beat her.
Right.
They went straight to interview her. Like, who
So
interviews?
what do you think?
Right, who interviews the last place person? Like, there was another person on team.
Yo, they really did.
They interviewed the Jamaican girl that won,
Right.
and then they went to Sha'Carri.
Right.
And I remember when the girl was walking behind her and kind of gave her a look, as they were interviewing her, and I'm like, another person from Team America also beat her. So, all right, y'all. Well, looks like it's about that time.
About that time.
Precious, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you. Give them all your info.
Let's move everything out the way so she can do it.
You guys are silly. You guys like that. You guys can find me at IamPreciousLayne.com on all social media platforms. Well, that's my website. And you can find me at IamPreciousLayne on all social media platforms. And I will obviously see you guys in the community and hopefully in the world.
What gigs you got coming up?
Gosh, don't make me think on the spot. I have one tomorrow, the Dolly edition. Only pretty girls on them. Come on, son, support your girls.
This episode ain't gonna be out in time for that.
Right.
They ain't gonna make it.
Crash that one out.
So if you was there, she did a good job, right?
She was there, right?
Right, if you were there, did a great job. And the next one, I have an event. I have like 3 private events in March, so you won't know about that. March 19th, I have an event after Straight Soca. I didn't get the flyer yet. March 26th, Holly Juve is having their party.
You're on that?
Yes, are having their party on Karma. Yes, and Prestige is coming up April 26th.
4th.
Fourth.
Okay, don't.
She's like, I'm gonna pick a number.
Right, she gonna show up on the 26th, laptop in hand, everything like, I told you already.
Right.
Why the club ain't open?
Right. April 24th, Prestige.
Correct.
I don't know. It will be a scene.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, guys, this has been another great episode of the Guys Unpacked podcast.
This is Drake.
This is Rich. You make sure you follow us.
I tried.
Like and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Share it. Tell a friend and tell a friend.
That's right.
And we will be back next week. With that,
we out.
We out.
If you enjoyed this, make sure you check out all our full episodes on YouTube at Guys Unpacked.
Also available anywhere you get your podcast, and follow us on all social media at Guys Unpacked.